nothing like the mountain air to work up an appetite for a good hearty meal. And there's nothing heartier than pork belly. And I have here a lovely piece of pork that I'm going to roast with some honey and thyme. But before I roast it, I want to make a trivet. And a trivet is what I'm going to balance the pork on so that the pork doesn't stick to the base of the roasting tin, and so I get the lovely juices to make a nice gravy afterwards. Now, with the pork, I bought it with the bone in and the crackling on, but then I went to the trouble of taking the bone off and the crackling off because I want to rub some honey and thyme up here, and I really want those flavours to seep into the pork. I've also taken the ribs off here because it's much easier to carve the meat, but I want to keep the ribs because this is going to give me flavour for my gravy. So pop that in like so. Skin over like so. And next, we carefully score the pork. Scoring the meat helps the flavour of the herbs work its way down into the meat. I sprinkle a little sea salt and black pepper over the top, a little bit of fresh thyme, and rub it all into the belly of the pork. And then put the meat into the roasting tin. And a little tip, some white wine just poured into the base of your roasting tin, and that gives a lovely flavour to the sauce that we'll make with the juices later. And then it goes to the oven at about 150 degrees for 2 to 2.5 hours. And now I'm going to make the lemon and honey glaze. Now I could have put this on earlier, but the honey tends to burn in the oven, and therefore I always leave it till the last, because if it burns, the flavour's going to come through in the sauce. But that doesn't mean being stingy with it. Brush it on liberally. That's perfect. It smells delicious. Lemon and honey is always so soothing. It's really lovely. And then I'm going to pop it back in the oven for about half an hour, and then it'll be ready. I'm just going to take the meat off to rest. Look at those juices. And while the pork is resting, we are going to make the rich, silky gravy. And this is just some homemade chicken stock because I need a little extra for the sauce. So pop that in. This should take about 10 minutes to reduce to the consistency that I like in a gravy. It'll be lightly syrupy, and it's going to work really well with the beans that I've prepared to serve with the pork. And just because it's a simple dish, there's no need to neglect the presentation. So there you have it, roast pork with a Sicilian twist.